All right, here's something that the newly caffeinated Munchie B felt very strongly about. So when we were doing the podcast the other day, I think Munchie and a couple other people were a little surprised to hear Akademiks basically talking about Los Angeles as if it's filled with a bunch of pump faking ass gangsters who just podcast and don't ever get it cracking, bracking, etc.
Oh, yeah, that was me and Munchie in the booth.
You guys were not necessarily feeling it, Munchie B and Jefe. How did you feel about that? And then we can get into the sort of strategy that I feel like Akademiks was entailing in this moment.
Man, I just fell out laughing, and I was just pretty much like, man, shit, Munchie B called it, man. And I, did a segment on it and kind of, what I'm saying, just was like, man, look, this what's going on, man. You talking about this West Coast, you know what I'm saying, politics, what's going on, man? How Troy Ave pulling plays.
It ain't April Fool's.
Okay, but we all know that there is serious gang activity taking place in Los Angeles all the time. And obviously, Ak knows that too. The people who are podcasting about each other every day, let's be real, that's some other 99% of the time. But we do see people on podcasts who act super gangster and say they're going to do certain shit and then realistically never end up doing anything to anyone ever.
But me and Ant, we two of the people that do podcasts that dumb it down and don't be, you know what I'm saying?
Me, and
Like,
I don't talk about a lot of shit I could talk about and how I did. I dumb a lot of shit down. I could be on here talking about how I knock shit out like 4 extras. I don't do none of that.
No, I feel like with
me?
y'all,
I'll
it's more,
just be
you guys are
chilling.
giving like a hood perspective or just your street perspective on certain things.
I mean, it's just different characters. Not to say what anybody else is doing is wrong. It's just that's my personality. I'm just, I'm a laid back. I don't really do too much talking. I'm on go though. But you feel me? All that. It's just different personalities. Some people like that. It's just we all different. We all different. You feel me? Different characteristics.
I think Akademiks owe West Coast media podcasters an apology based on he called someone phone and said y'all need to stop capping, stop playing with Troy Ave. He's from New York, as if California is the complete opposite. And then one of my peers said, "Oh, well, he was talking about Trell. Well, all the metaphors and similes wasn't necessary. You spit it out and just insult him."
Yeah, okay.
So, and I asked who run plays. He couldn't answer it. Then I told him who run plays, which is his best friend, and he tried to roll over it. And I don't understand. So who? Can we get an apology act?
Okay.
Can we retraction?
This is what I said is that I see what Ak's doing, right? He wants to get at Trell. He's made it his mission, much as it has been my mission in the past, to Trell's life up. I think he looks at me. He's seen me go straight at him over and over and over, dissing him, his business, his girl, etc. Ak's employing a different technique in which he basically doesn't really insult him that much, because even when he was watching Trell tell the story and he's like kind of just like super lying, yo, like we got to talk about that. Trell telling the story of seeing Ak in the club was so funny. He goes, I walked up, I bullied the whole scene. I bullied the whole scene is crazy. Anyway, but like, he instead of just like
That's
tearing
fire.
that down and saying, Trell, you're a liar. He instead is kind of like clowning LA for producing this person and then sort of putting it in the hands of all the other podcasters to basically have to denounce Trell's behavior or else they're going to look bad. And I think it's kind of working because some of the Apollo, Keem, MacWap, etc.
That's how
they've
LA
been going
get
in
down?
on him.
That's how you get down.
No,
LA?
that wasn't a good strategy, bro.
That's what he was trying to do.
That wasn't very sophisticated of him. I see what he's trying to do, but that wasn't a good angle. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying it's
Like-
4D
like-
chess,
but
but it's
Mike-
at least chess.
It's
Mac-
a
Mac-
5D
like,
chess. That's a
FM
Chesserax.
He should have barred FMW instead of like the whole. You know what I'm saying?
But he knows that if he could kind of like offend the West Coast by lumping Trell in with the West Coast, then he can make the West Coast denounce Trell. At least
That
in
makes
theory,
sense.
that's what he wants. Because then you look at the comments on that shit, and it's the fans tearing them apart.
That would make me want to help Trell if he dishes the West Coast.
I feel like Ak gets something that I have been slow to learn, which is that if you shove the narrative down the people's throats, then they're going to basically kind of reject it. It's like giving a kid their medicine, you know?
Right.
But if you mix the medicine in with their food, they'll gobble that shit up. So he's kind of setting it up for people to have the negative narrative, but he's not giving them the narrative.
That part was a fail. The other part was real pave and smooth. He's like, man, you know, all he wanted was some Don. That was funny as fuck.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah,
that was,
yeah,
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 that
He
was,
was
that
looking,
that-
he
that's
was
what
looking parched.
looking.
For sure.
He
Yeah,
said-
parched. Yeah, he was parched.
That was funny. That was
Man, he said,
real
look,
player.
man, dude talking that rah-rah, man, they come to your section, you see him, you offer him some dime, man. That's
driving
all.
the boat.
Yeah.
Hey, no,
He was parched.
Bro, if
Yeah,
it's
that
up with
was
him, bro,
funny,
you should
bro.
go to that section driving the boat or
No,
riding, whatever the boat is.
Ak was just clowning, though, man. He was just clowning.
That part was funny.
No, but Munchie, how much of Axe content have you watched? Because like that, he does these long dramatic intros. Remember, this is a dude that will keep a stream entertained and going for like 6-7 hours straight. So he's got to like say as many.
No.
words.
That's a troll. What you think that is, a player or a troll?
I give him. I give him
build up.
I give him
It's a build up.
a B- because he lost me with the West Coast podcast. He could have did what he did at the end because that was funny. He talking about he on boats with all the men. He over there with 9 bras and him, and the security. All that shit was player. He barred him.
I think he just kind of do what a lot of other people do. You feel me? Like on any other coast, you feel me? Just like it seemed like with somebody over there, whether it's the Midwest or the South, somebody do something. It's like that mentality, go for the whole coast. But shit, we may act. You know what I'm saying? Like who you talking about? Because we both was like, we don't be like that. And he like, no, well I ain't talking about y'all. I look at y'all content. This pretty much how y'all is, and that basically, you know what I'm saying, he was hitting at the Trell situation. This is what I'm really talking
For
about, but
sure,
I'm just
but
throwing the
like-
West Coast out there.
And also, don't you think it's kind of like on like corrupt and calling out names? Like I love New York, but the that are representing y'all are New York. You feel me? Like he's like, I fucks with like
Yeah.
LA, but this is what you're allowing to rep y'all. Like this is
Ain't gonna
corny.
rep me. Hey, look.
Exactly, and that's the reaction he wanted. That's the whole point. That's what he wanted. To
That's
say.
what he wanted
That's
right
what
there.
He wanted. You don't.
He got it.
T-Row don't rep. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's pretty smart because
Very
then,
smart.
like anybody on a podcast that really is going to be honest, like he's forcing like a lot of podcasters into a spot where they either have to admit that it's all content and that people aren't really expected to stand on anything, or they have to basically denounce him and say, hey, if I was in the club, I would have done this. I ain't like him. So Trell, as a result, has kind of like admitted and spoke about how he knows that he f***ed up and didn't play the situation correctly, which I feel like he kind of had to,
But
because
really,
it,
why
it
would-
was literally
like,
like 100% of the comments telling him that he behaved like a
Trell would
bitch.
have been cool if he just would have stayed in there and not even went over there. Why go over there and then don't drink his alcohol? That's where the alcohol, it was you sealed the deal. That was bunk. You know what I'm
I think that he really
ranked
just
out when he did
I
that.
think he was parched, and I think that he just loves famous people. Like in that moment, he probably forgot they even had beef, and he was just like, damn, like
saying? That's
I love famous people. Like I'll talk to whoever. Like he's the kind of guy who, like, he would go hang out with Bin Laden in the club. He don't
All
give a
right,
shit.
so let me ask this. Let me ask this question.
Let's call it
You
what it
famous?
is.
Let's hang out.
Besides the
Smack when they did that.
No,
besides
hell no. Smack's a man.
Smack would have fought him.
Smack when they did that.
Never.
No, he wouldn't have.
Smack would have jump kicked
Smack
him.
go drink some water first. Smack ain't fucking with that shit.
Man, I've been knowing Smack for a long time, so let me ask you this, man.
Yeah.